Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Abhijit Loreng and with me is R.S. Raghu bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India votes to elect its new president, counting of votes to be held on Thursday. Emergency declared in Sri Lanka, new president to be elected on the 20th of July. Nepal government extends an 81-day-old import ban on 10 luxury goods till the end of August this year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says self-reliance in defence sector is very crucial for India in the 21st century, addresses Naval Innovation and Indigenization Organization Seminar, Swalamban in New Delhi. Former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan renews his call for early elections after his party wins majority in province of Punjab. Bangladesh expresses interest in importing high-quality trained coaches from India to operate between Dhaka and Cox's Bazar. BA.5, a super transmissible subvariant of the Omicron strain, causes rise in intensive care admissions across the UK, and UK braces for hottest day on record with highs of 41 degrees centigrade. Over 99% elector turnout was recorded in the presidential election for which polling was held today. The poll was conducted in a peaceful and orderly manner in all the designated places across the country, including the Parliament House. The polling began at Parliament House as well as the premises of the state legislative assemblies at 10 a.m., which continued till 5 p.m. After the end of the polling process, the Election Commission in a statement said, out of a total of 4,796 electors in the list of Electoral College for the presidential election, over 99% cast their votes today. It said 100% voting by MLAs was reported from 11 states and UT of Puducherry. These states are Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, Kerala, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Manipur, Mizoram, Sikkim and Tamil Nadu. Addressing media in Parliament's House complex, Rajya Sabha Secretary General P.C. Modi said, out of the 736 electors comprising 727 MPs and 9 MLAs who were permitted to vote at Parliament House, 730 electors cast their vote. These include 721 MPs and 9 MLAs. Mr. Modi informed that 99.18% elector turnout was recorded at Parliament House.
The assistant returning officers of various states will start arriving with the polled sealed ballot boxes to Parliament House, New Delhi, by road and by air from today evening itself. The first ballot box is expected to arrive in Parliament House around 10 p.m. today. All necessary security arrangements for safe transit of ballot boxes from the airport to Parliament House have been made.
The Rajya Sabha Secretary General also informed that the assistant returning officers of various states will start arriving with the poll-sealed ballot boxes to Parliament House, New Delhi, by road and by air from today itself. He said all necessary security arrangements for the safe transit of the ballot boxes from the airport to the Parliament House have been made. Our correspondent reports that the term of office of President Ram Nath Kovind is ending on the 24th of July. Former Jharkhand Governor Draupadi Murmu is the NDA candidate for the presidential election, while former Union Minister Yashwant Sinha is contesting as a joint opposition candidate for the top post. The counting of votes for the presidential election will take place on the 21st of this month at Parliament House from 11 a.m. onwards. In Sri Lanka, according to a government notice released yesterday, acting President Ranil Wickremesinghe has declared a fresh state of emergency. An extraordinary gazette has been issued declaring a state of emergency across the island with effect from today. According to the gazette, the public emergency in Sri Lanka has been declared in the interest of public security, the protection of public order and the maintenance of supplies and services essential to the life of the community. Earlier, Mr. Wickremesinghe had also announced a state of emergency last week after President Gotabaya Rajapaksa fled the country to escape a popular uprising against his government. However, it was unclear whether that order has been withdrawn or has lapsed, or whether Mr. Wickremesinghe has reissued the order in his capacity as acting president. Sri Lanka's leaders have imposed a state of emergency several times since April. Local media reports the country's commercial capital Colombo remained calm on this morning with traffic and pedestrians out on the streets.
In Nepal, government has extended an 81-day-old import ban on 10 types of goods till the end of August, citing lack of improvement in the country's foreign currency reserves. As per the notice published in Nepal Gazette yesterday, mobile phones priced over $300 and motorcycles with an engine capacity of over 150 cc shall be barred entry till 30th of August, along with liquor, tobacco products, diamond, color TV sets larger than 32 inches, jeeps, cars and vans, dolls, playing cards and snacks. The government notice said the ban is enforced to safeguard the external financial position and balance of payments in order to forestall any imminent threat to the economy. According to media reports, the ban, first imposed in late April, should have run till mid-July, when the current fiscal year ended. Nepal Rashtra Bank in a statement said, as of the first 11 months of the 2021-22 fiscal year that ended on Saturday, Nepal's forex reserves had decreased 19.6% to $9.45 billion from $11.75 billion in mid-July 2021. However, the central bank data also shows that there had been a slight improvement in the inflow of remittances, the largest source of forex earnings for Nepal, during the same period. Farmers across the country are facing shortages of chemical fertilizers, and inflation is also rising to double digits. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday said the goal of self-reliance in defense sector is very important for the India of the 21st century. Addressing the Naval Innovation and Indigenization Organization seminar Swalamban in New Delhi this evening, Mr. Modi said organizing the first Swalamban seminar for an Atmanirbhar Navy is an important step in this direction.
75 इंडिजीनियस टेक्नोलॉजीज का निर्माण एक प्रकार से पहला कदम है. हमें इनकी संख्या को लगातार बढ़ाने के लिए काम करना है. आपका लक्ष्य होना चाहिए कि भारत का जब अपनी आजादी के 100 वर्ष का पर्व मनाए, उस समय हमारी नौसेना एक अभूतपूर्व ऊंचाई पर हो. हमारे समंदर, हमारी तटीय सीमाएं, हमारे आर्थिक आत्मनिर्भरता के बहुत बड़े संरक्षक भी और एक प्रकार से संवर्धक भी हैं. इसलिए भारतीय नौसेना की भूमिका निरंतर बढ़ती जा रही है. इसलिए नौसेना के साथ ही देश की बढ़ती जरूरतों के लिए भी नौसेना का स्वावलंबी होना बहुत आवश्यक है. मुझे विश्वास है ये सेमिनार और इससे निकला अमृत हमारी सेनाओं को स्वावलंबी बनाने में बहुत मदद करेगा.
During the program, the Prime Minister unveiled sprint challenges which are aimed at giving a boost to the usage of indigenous technology in the Indian Navy. As a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, NIIO, in conjunction with the Defence Innovation Organization, aims at inducting at least 75 new indigenous technologies and products into the Indian Navy.
ज्वाइंट एक्सरसाइज का लक्ष्य होता है कि सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स को ज्यादा से ज्यादा एक्सपोजर मिले, एक दूसरे के प्रति समझ बढ़े, बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस को एडप्ट किया जा सके. ऐसे में इस ज्वाइंट एक्सरसाइज का लक्ष्य बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है. हम मिलकर अगले साल 15 अगस्त तक नेवी के लिए 75 इंडिजीनियस टेक्नोलॉजीज का निर्माण करेंगे और आपका पुरुषार्थ, आपका अनुभव, आपका ज्ञान इसे जरूर सिद्ध करेगा. आज जब भारत अपनी आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव मना रहा है, तब ऐसे लक्ष्यों की प्राप्ति आत्मनिर्भरता के हमारे लक्ष्यों को और गति देगी.
Mr. Modi said in the last 8 years, the government has not only increased the defense budget, but also ensured that this budget is useful in the development of the defense manufacturing ecosystem in the country itself. He said a large part of the budget earmarked for the purchase of defense equipment is being spent in procurement from Indian companies. The Prime Minister emphasized that, like the countries who capitalized on the challenge of the World War to emerge as big arms exporters, India too turned adversity into opportunity during the COVID period and made strides in economy, manufacturing and science. Today is International Nelson Mandela Day. The day is a celebration of 67-year-long fight of former South African President Nelson Mandela's fight against racial discrimination and human rights abuses. Nelson Mandela devoted his life to the service of humanity as an international peacemaker and the first democratically elected president of a free South Africa, and as a human rights lawyer. He is known for his work towards empowering women and men regardless of their religion and ethnicity and promoting dialogue and solidarity for justice and lasting peace. In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a special program on remembering Nelson Mandela.
Oh, you can with what you have, where you are. This is the theme of Nelson Mandela Day this year. To honor his legacy on the promotion of social justice, the fight against poverty and the promotion of a culture of peace throughout the world. The United Nations General Assembly in 2009 proclaimed Nelson Mandela's birthday, 18th July, as Nelson Mandela International Day, devoting the day to public service. Individuals around the world are asked to mark Nelson Mandela International Day by making a difference in their communities. South African leader Dr. Nelson Mandela, 1918 to 2013, is recognized worldwide for his work of the upliftment of blacks. Nelson Mandela, who was often called as the Gandhi of South Africa, had strong Indian connections and striking similarities with India's father of the nation. He was also the president of South Africa. Nelson Mandela was freed in 1990 and negotiated with State President F.W. de Klerk the end of apartheid in South Africa, bringing peace to a racially divided country and leading the fight for human rights around the world. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. In a world that constantly engaged itself into more violence as years went by, both Gandhi and Mandela opted for the path of non-violent political strategies. Mandela admitted being inspired by Gandhi, as he called Gandhi a role model in his life. Mandela was the first non-Indian recipient of Bharat Ratna, a avowed Gandhian. Madiba, as Mandela was affectionately known around the world, always praised Gandhi for his principles of Satya and Ahimsa and followed his philosophy.
We in South Africa are convinced that it is both possible and practicable to reach our goal of a better life for all in the short possible time. We derive our confidence from the knowledge that this is a vision shared by the overwhelming majority of South Africans across the color and political divide, and we fully appreciate the role of the international community in making this happen, not only in the form of material support. If we are able today to speak proudly of a rainbow nation, united in its diversity of culture, religion, race, language, and ethnicity, it is in part because the world has set us a moral example which we dared to follow.
The anti-apartheid icon shared a special bond with India, and this was there for the world to see when he chose the land of Gandhi, whom he called his political guru, a role model, as his first destination abroad in 1990 after spending 27 years at Robben Island, 9 kilometers from Cape Town, where Mandela spent most of his life in prison. It was a defining experience of his life. The regime on the island was harsh, with prison wardens who tried to break and demoralize political prisoners like Mandela. Mandela said the Gandhian influence dominated freedom struggles on the African continent right up to 1960s because of the power it generated and the unity it forged among the apparently powerless. As South Africa's first black president from 1994 to 1999, Mandela drove close relations with India, and the two countries forged bonds over groupings like IBSA and BRICS. Mandela received the award of the International Gandhi Peace Prize for Social, Economic and Political Transformation from Indian President K.R. Narayanan in 2001. Desmond Tutu, a close ally of Nelson Mandela, was in the struggle against apartheid in South Africa and was one of the most powerful opponents of the previous system of white minority rule, had to say.
This man went to jail a very angry young activist. He came out someone who was magnanimous, someone who had a depth that he would not, I believe, have gained had it not been in this crucible of suffering.
Gandhi and Mandela were imprisoned a number of times in their political career. However, the most striking part of that, both of them spent time in the Fort Prison, Johannesburg. Both of them eventually became an inspiration for world peace. They inspired many nations and leaders. Both of them led the individual nation to international prominence by securing major political achievements, merely with non-violence movements, unlike most of the other nations. Confronted by the challenges of apartheid, physical imprisonment and doubt, Mandela nonetheless yielded his inimitable spirit to improve the lives of millions of his fellow countrymen and women. As an activist, scholar, leader, and ultimately one of the world's greatest ever humanitarians. Not only did Mandela liberate an entire country from the grips of the racist apartheid system, but he also continued the fight for the world's most vulnerable people until the very end of his life.
Right down the century and in every part of the world, men and women come and go. Some leave nothing behind them, not even their name. It would seem that they never existed at all. Others do leave something behind, the haunting memory of the evil deeds they committed against their fellow human beings. Every time their names are mentioned, feelings of contempt and revulsion well up in our hearts. But there is a third category, also of men and women who leave something behind. Men and women who have chosen the entire world as the theater of their operations, as the battleground for their ideas, who join issue with all those who are guilty, directly or indirectly, of violating human rights. These are the people who put sunshine in the hearts of the very poor, who make all human beings feel that life is rewarding, is worth living. They are immortal.
Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has renewed his call for early elections after his party took control of the crucial Provincial Assembly of Punjab. PTI won 15 of the 20 seats in Punjab, defeating arch-rivals PMLN on their home ground. This is a major blow to current Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. Pakistan is reeling under unprecedented inflation and energy shortages. The results in Punjab suggest voters there wanted to send a message to the country's leaders about the economic hardships they are facing. Bangladesh has expressed interest in importing high-quality train coaches from India to operate between Dhaka and Cox's Bazar. Bangladesh also intends to purchase engines and luggage vans under the line of credit offered by India. This was expressed during the meeting between Bangladesh Railway Minister Nurul Islam Sujan and High Commissioner of India Vikram Doraiswamy in Dhaka on Monday. High Commissioner Vikram Doraiswamy proposed to start a fourth passenger train running between Dhaka and Kolkata via Darshana. Presently, 3 pairs of trains, namely Maitri Express between Dhaka and Kolkata, Bandhan Express between Kulhana and Kolkata, and Mithali Express between Dhaka and New Jalpaiguri, operate between the two countries. Railway Minister Sujan stressed upon the need to increase connectivity of Bangladesh with Nepal and Bhutan via India, which required strengthening the Chilahati-Haldibari route. The minister also called for extending the Sirajganj-Bogra line built with Indian funding up to Santahar to reap maximum benefit, as the Bogra-Santahar line is still meter gauge. Apart from this, the Railway Minister and Indian High Commissioner also discussed issues related to the construction of Kulhana-Mongla railway line and the 3rd and 4th railway line from Dhaka to Tongi. They also discussed modernization of Benapole station, construction of ICD at Sirajganj, a modern coach manufacturing factory at Saidpur, training for auxiliary locomotives of Bangladesh in India, said an official press release of Bangladesh Railways.
A super-transmissible subvariant of the Omicron strain, known as BA.5, is fueling a fresh increase in infections across the UK and the continent. According to the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control (ECDC), intensive care admissions are rising. It has warned that another wave of the disease is starting. Martin McKee, Professor of European Public Health at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, said that the timing of the uptick suggests that COVID isn't yet seasonal like the winter flu. Instead, the successive waves of even more infectious versions show that it's still not clear what living with the virus will mean in the long run. To combat the summer spike, the ECDC issued new guidance this week recommending that adults over the age of 60 and medically vulnerable people of any age should consider a second booster now. In the UK, the government announced on Friday it will broaden its COVID booster shot campaign to include everyone aged 50 and over. Britain is in course for its hottest day on record today, with temperatures forecast to hit 40 degrees centigrade for the first time. An extreme heat warning is already in place for tomorrow, also in much of England. It has forced train companies to cancel services and health authorities to put more ambulances on standby. The remaining parts of the Britain, the Wales and parts of Scotland are under amber alert for high temperature. Meanwhile, much of Europe is baking in a heat wave that has pushed temperatures into the mid-40s Celsius in some regions, with wildfires ranging across tinder-dry countryside in Portugal, Spain and France. Britain's government triggered a national emergency alert as temperatures were forecast to surpass the 38.7 centigrade recorded in the Cambridge University Botanic Garden on July 25, 2019. London's underground metro network imposed temporary speed restrictions on the network for today and tomorrow, meaning it would run a reduced service with journeys taking longer than normal. It urged commuters to only travel if essential. The National Rail Network also urged passengers to stay at home and said some services, including a key route between northeastern England and London, would not run during parts of Tuesday. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. Welcome back to World News. Now, a report from the business desk.
The Sensex surged 760 points or 1.41% to finish at 54,521. The Nifty rose 229 points or 1.43% to end at 16,279. At global stock markets, share markets in the Asia-Pacific region were mostly up amid investors' expectations of less aggressive interest rate hikes from the US Fed Reserve. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index surged 2.7% and South Korea's Kospi climbed 1.9%. China's Shanghai Composite Index gained 1.6%, and Singapore's Straits Times ended 0.7% up. Japan's Nikkei 225 remained closed for a holiday. European shares logged gains in intraday trade. Global crude oil prices gained 2.5%. Brent crude was trading at $103.70 per barrel in intraday trade. And in the forex market, the rupee weakened 10 paisa against the US dollar. The domestic currency closed at 79 rupees and 98 paisa against the American unit. Anubha Rohatgi for World News, All India Radio.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. First, we have a look at the press reports on China. Major media outlets reported that India and China held the 16th round of core commander level talks on Sunday for over 12 hours as the two sides attempted to revive the stalled process of disengagement and de-escalation in eastern Ladakh. FT writes, India has stepped up a crackdown on the Chinese smartphone companies as Oppo, Xiaomi and Vivo in a series of legal actions that have raised trade tensions between Asia's two biggest nations. Indian regulators accused Oppo of tax evasion this week. Bloomberg writes China's COVID-19 cases remain elevated, with Shanghai rolling out mass testing in 9 districts, while Macau extending its lockdown. The latest hotspots include the Guangxi Autonomous Region in the south of China and the northwestern province of Gansu. CGTN reports flash floods in southwest and northwest China have left at least a dozen dead and put thousands of others in danger.
Now let's have a look at the press reports on Nepal. Khabar Hub reports that Nepal government is to provide a loan of rupees 7 billion to Nepal Oil Corporation NOC to make payments to the Indian Oil Corporation for the supply of petroleum products. My Republica writes that the Supreme Court SC has ordered that government employees, security personnel and prisoners to be allowed to vote in the House of Representatives and Province Assembly elections. A single bench of Justice Vishwambar Prasad Shresth issued an interim order to create a temporary voter list for government employees, security personnel and prisoners.
Now let's have a look at the press reports from Pakistan. BBC reports that former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has renewed his call for early elections after his party took control of a crucial provincial assembly in Punjab. PTI won 15 of the 20 seats in Punjab, defeating arch-rivals PMLN on their home ground. Dawn reports that an Indian airliner carrying 186 passengers from Sharjah made an emergency landing at Karachi's Jinnah International Airport, the second such incident this month, after reporting a technical defect in the wee hours on Sunday, Civil Aviation Authority CAA spokesman Saifur Rahman said.
Now let's have a look at the press reports from Balochistan. Daily Times notes that residents of coastal areas of Sindh and Balochistan have been warned that a low-pressure area developing over the northeast Arabian Sea and adjoining Gulf of Kutch. This could cause strong gusts of winds and heavy to extremely heavy showers in the coastal regions over the next couple of days.
And a quick look at the headlines once again. India votes to elect its new president, counting of votes to be held on Thursday. Emergency declared in Sri Lanka, new president to be elected on the 20th of July. Nepal government extends an 81-day all-import ban on 10 luxury goods till the end of August this year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says self-reliance in defence sector is very crucial for the India in the 21st century. Addresses Naval Innovation and Indigenization Organization Seminar, Swalambhan in New Delhi. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan renews his call for early elections after his party wins majority in the province of Punjab. Bangladesh expresses interest in importing high-quality trained coaches from India to operate between Dhaka and Cox's Bazar. BA.5, a super transmissible subvariant of the Omicron strain, causes rise in intensive care admissions across the UK, and UK braces for hottest day on record with highs of 41 degrees centigrade. And now before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnava Jan, by artists from France. And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.